Welcome back, friends. In the last tutorial, we saw how to create a post model and the routes. We created a default route here, uh, which takes us to the index page. Okay, so in this part 6 of this tutorial, we will be creating the and we'll start working on the admin backend, and we'll see how to create a new post and few other routes. Okay, so let's get started. So this is where we left off. We created the post model, and this model is not yet finished. We need to export this model. Okay, so to export, we know we have to use module.exports, and we will use the model function of mongoose. So you can name it anything you want. Okay, this model function takes two parameters. The first is a name, and this will be the name by which you will refer this in the database. So I'll use post. In the database, it will be created in the plural form, like posts. Okay, and we want to supply the schema, that is our post schema. Okay, so this should be all, but in my IDE I will uh, export it as an object because the IntelliSense is not working somehow. So to make it work, I'll put a key like post. Okay, but you need not to do this because in Visual Studio Code everything works fine without this object notation. It's the same thing, but I'm doing it on purpose. So once that is done, I'm going to close the post model. Okay, and what I did in the top navigation, I cleared the links which I don't want, and I put this href tag to the correct pages or the correct routes. Okay, although these routes are not yet present, we'll create those in a moment. And I've created a new link with the name admin that will take me to the admin area. Okay, so that is done. I'm gonna close this top navigation file as well. So in the default controller or default routes file, I'll create a new route here. That will be my slash login route, and this will have, should be router. This will have a get method that will reside inside the default controller dot, let's say, login. So we'll go to the default controller, create a new method, say login, and we'll apply the request response object, and here we will be putting the logic for the default route or for the login route. Okay, so first of all, let's put a console log and see if we are able to reach this route or not. You have reached login page. Okay, or let's say not console log, let's send it res.send. Okay, save it. I'm gonna start my terminal or the server again, like npm start. So give it a minute and that should start my nodemon, and I believe my database is not running somehow. Again, I'm gonna start it. Okay, there we have it. Yeah, database connection failed. I'm gonna restart it. Okay, perfect. So it's connected. I'm gonna minimize this terminal, and if I go back to the browser, open my application, I have this home page, and if I click on login, okay, so this route works. But we don't want just a blank page with the text in it. We want to render HTML. Okay, So in the views folder under default, I'm gonna create a new handlebars file. This will be my login.handlebars. Make sure you put the extension name there, otherwise it will not work as intended. So if you check the zip folder that I shared in my previous video, it has got a template for the login form. I'm gonna copy that template to save some time, and we are not going to look into the HTML or CSS part here because we are mostly focusing on the backend development, like the uh, API development, you can say. So we are simply copy pasting the HTML codes to save time. Okay, so this is the code, and as you can see, it has got a form here. So this has got a card. Okay, inside the card it got a header, and then it has a form in the card body which has got few form groups. So these classes are coming from the Bootstrap framework. We have not created any custom classes here. That's all from Bootstrap, like form control of everything. Okay, so it has got IDs, types, email, placeholders, everything. Okay, and then we have a submit button here that says login. So to render this page, we know we have to use the dot render method here. I'll replace this send with dot render, and I'll give the path as default slash login. Okay, by making this small change, if I go back and my server is of course running here, it has restarted automatically. Let me, okay, so if I refresh the page, you'll see this nice form here, login form here. Okay, this is all done for you. You need not to do anything manually. So although this form will not submit yet, it will not give you anything. Test at gmail.com 123. It says cannot post to login because we don't have a post route yet. We're only having a get route, and this form uh, submits the data to this login URL where we are using the post method. So we need a post method here, and now you'll start to see how easy it is to chain methods. Okay, otherwise you would have to put in two different router dot uh, get and router dot post statements, but we are organizing everything in the default controller. Okay, so I'll rename this method to login get. Okay, and do refactor. This will change here as well as in the default routes. Okay, and now I'll have a login post again with the request and response objects. Okay, now I want to send the data. It says congratulations, you have successfully submitted the data. Okay, save it, and I'm gonna use default controller dot login post without the brackets. Okay, we're not gonna call it, we're simply passing the reference. Save it and go back to the browser, refresh it. I think it's my server has restarted. That's fine. I go back to the home page. Login. Cannot get login. Oh, sorry. That's changed the route as well. Okay, go back. Okay. Sometimes refactoring does mess up your code, so be careful about that. Now if I enter any dummy data and hit this login button. It says congratulations, you have successfully submitted the data. Okay, so our post route is also working here, which is fine. And similarly, I'm gonna create a register get route, and I'll not work on these routes as of now. Okay, I'll simply create a couple of files and put the HTML code there. Render will be my default register. Okay, and I'll have a register post method also. Request rest.send successfully registered. Okay, let's quickly create the routes here. Router dot route slash register dot get. I'll have the default controller register get method, and dot post I'll use the default controller dot register post method. Okay, and here of course I have to create a new handlebar file. That will be my register dot handlebars, and I'm gonna simply copy the sign up form here. You should have that in the zip file from my GitHub link. Okay, remove this value attribute. So this is to pre-populate any entries. Okay, so it's removed. I have a working registration form with all the fields marked as required. If I go back to the application, click on register, I should have this form, and if I submit anything here, 1 2 3 1 2 3, okay, successful registered. And if you just click this button, it has got validation in place. Okay, so it's working. Now we need to have the admin routes. Okay, so we'll be working on the admin pages. So I'm going to close this. Okay, close the default controller as well. Okay, great. So let's work on the admin section here. We will need an admin layout, of course. I'm going to create a new file that will say admin. Okay, and I'm gonna copy the HTML, of course. So give me a sec. I'm gonna quickly do that for you. This will be under the sbadmin folder. So you will see a index.html file, okay, like this. I'm gonna copy everything from there, paste it here, and make sure you also copy the jQuery and the CSS files, okay, including the vendor folder, and paste it in the public directory. Okay, cool. So once that is done, what I will do, I'll simply go ahead and first of all rename these links with a / that will point to my static path, and go to the bottom and put a / everywhere. I can do multi-row editing as well. Okay, so once that is done, save it, and we need a route, of course, to reach to this page. Okay, so we have this layout. We need a route here, of course. I will need a admin route, so the JavaScript file, let's name it as admin routes. Okay, and this admin routes will have uh, first of all I need to write my import statements, and I have to require express and the router express dot router. Okay, router. Then I'll create a router. I'll create a controller also. That will be my admin controller. Okay, I have to import that const admin controller to require controllers admin controller. Okay, so the first route will be my default route. Okay, so that will give me admin controller with the index method. Okay, so I have to go here, then I'll import some code from the default route index file. Okay, and paste it in my admin controller. So module.exports, a big object, and paste it here. So instead of the default index, I'll use admin index. Although we don't have this file available, we'll go ahead and create a new handlebars file inside the admin folder. Okay, so right now it is blank, so it'll render whatever there is in the uh, admin layout file. Okay, so although we need to tell node that we want to use this layout whenever we hit the admin route, so we'll go to the admin routes file, and on the top we will use the router.all method. So this method applies to every route that is uh, starting with /admin. Okay, and this will work as a middleware basically. So like we know, middleware is a plugin, and when this function, before the function ends, we have to call the next method so that it can go to the next available route or method available. So I'll use the request.app.locals. It's an object that comes with the request. It's a property that comes with the request object, and we'll use the layout here, and we'll tell him to use the which layout, the admin layout. Yeah. Okay, so by doing this, if you save the changes, okay, one thing, you have to go to the app.js file, and where you loaded these routes, you have to do another import statement, and you have to load the admin routes, and use slash, we want to use set the path as /admin, and to use the admin routes here. I think that should be it. Say app crash, middleware function, what got an object. Oh, I believe we again missed that export statement in the admin routes folder. Yeah, so module dot exports equals to router. Save it, should be good now. Yeah, perfect. If you go back to the application, click on the admin page or admin link, you should see this nice backend form or backend area. Okay, but now we need a link here to go back to our home page, so we'll quickly do that before we end this part here. So I'll go to the admin template, okay, and search for start bootstrap. here, and this is pointing to the HTML. I want to point it to the home directory. Okay, I'll rename this to back to home. Okay, I'll keep everything as it is. Go back, refresh, and if you click this, oh, I have to use slash should be working. Give me a minute. So it should take you back to the home page. Oh, so the problem is you're still seeing the backend form is because we have told to use the admin layout for everything. So once you hit that route and you try to go back, it will still display the admin area. So what you have to do, you have to copy the same code and go to the default routes and paste it on top and change the layout from admin to not home, default. Okay, save it, refresh. Okay, you have the home page. Go back to admin, you'll have the admin page, and go back to home, you'll have the home page back. Okay, so with this I'm going to end this video, and in the next part we will see how we can create where we will edit these links here in the admin. Okay, we will remove all these charts and everything, and we will create our first component here, that will be the post component, and we'll see how we can use our post model to do that. So till then, I hope you're enjoying this series, and if you have any comments, please feel free to do so. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.